Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're hanging out with us today because we're talking about a fundamental shift in how we actually experience our everyday lives. Okay, let's dive into this. You see, there's a subtle yet completely profound difference between merely looking at the world around you and truly understanding it. Think about it. We all share this exact same planet, but we definitely do not all live in the same reality. And it all boils down to how we process what's sitting right in front of us.
So I want to ask you this directly, right through the screen. Do you just look at your life, or do you actually see it? It's kind of a heavy question, right? I mean, every single day your eyes are receiving millions of images, but an image on its own, it doesn't really mean anything. For that image to actually carry meaning, a bridge has to be built by your mind and your heart working together. We are all looking at the exact same world, but the truth only whispers through signs to those who genuinely know how to see.
All right, that brings us to Section 1, the illusion of seeing. You know, it is so easy to fall into the trap of believing that just because our eyes are wide open, we're fully awake. But consider this for a second. Your brain receives millions of bits of visual data every single second, but it consciously processes only a tiny fraction of it. Because of this massive filtering and honestly just pure habituation, we completely miss the message. But here's the thing. The earth doesn't fall silent. The sky doesn't fall silent. The rhythm of night and day, not silent. Yet most of the time, we just tune it out. So the crucial point is that life is constantly trying to communicate with us. Everything is a sign. Everything is a pointer. But truth rarely shouts at you. It whispers through these really subtle signs. If your mind is scattered all over the place, or if your heart is totally occupied by 1,000 different distractions, you're going to miss the message entirely.
Moving right along, let's get into Section 2, surface versus deep reading.
Now this is where we bring the concept into the real world. Two people can encounter the exact same event, say a delayed flight, a sudden rainstorm, maybe a canceled meeting, and live in entirely different realities based purely on how they read that event. One person complains, while the other extracts meaning. One feels incredibly burdened, the other discovers a life lesson. Let's look at a concrete example. Say your plan completely falls apart. Something you really expected to happen just doesn't. And this brilliantly illustrates the divide. The surface reading over on the left just says, man, I'm unlucky. But the deep reading on the right pauses and asks, okay, what is this trying to teach me? Same event, two completely different lives. The surface reading narrows your mindset. It basically makes you a victim of circumstance. But the deep reading, it expands you, empowering you to pull a lesson right out of the chaos.
Let's try another one. Someone hurts you. They say something you completely didn't expect, and you feel that sting of pain. The surface reading instantly goes on the defensive. They wronged me. But the deep reading goes a step further. What is my responsibility here? What did I maybe misunderstand or blow out of proportion? Now, it's absolutely crucial to point out that deep reading is not about blindly accepting injustice. Actually, scratch that. It's the exact opposite. It's about striving to read the situation clearly and taking ownership of your own piece of the puzzle.
So why does all this matter? Notice this really dangerous domino effect here. When you misread an event, it instantly produces the wrong emotion. Then that wrong emotion leads directly to the wrong decision. And over time, those wrong decisions gradually direct your entire life down the completely wrong path. That's exactly why reading reality correctly isn't just some nice philosophical luxury. It's an absolute necessity if you want a good life.
And this brings us to a major turning point in our explainer today. Section 3, Finding Your Measure.
We're living in an era where we have access to literally more knowledge than any human beings in history. I mean, we read, we watch, we analyze, we discuss endlessly, and yet so many people still fail to interpret life correctly. The missing ingredient isn't a lack of information. What we're lacking is a very specific internal tool. Now, what's really interesting about the slide is this whole concept of a measure. A measure is knowing according to what you think. It's that core internal foundation that guides your interpretation of reality. Because look, we are always interpreting reality based on something, whether that's our emotions, our environment, our habits, or just sudden impulses. If you don't have a solid conscious measure in place, those random impulses just take the wheel.
Just look at this stark contrast here. Without a measure, you're basically at the mercy of the wind. Circumstances just scatter you. But with a measure, something incredible happens. Even if you have very little factual knowledge about a situation, having that solid internal foundation allows you to cut through the noise and arrive at the truth. Having a strong measure completely overrides the need to know every single piece of data because your lens for viewing the world is finally calibrated correctly.
So I really challenge you to ask yourself this profound question right now, today. According to what do I see?
Are you viewing your life according to your fleeting desires? Are you just kind of adopting the viewpoints of whatever environment or people happen to be around you? Or are you aligning your vision with truth itself? It's definitely not an easy question to answer, but honestly answering it, that has the power to entirely change your life.
I just love this couplet because it beautifully captures the shift. I thought I saw, yet a veil was over my sight. Once I learned to read, all things turned into light. It's so true, right? Once you stop living on the surface, life completely stops being ordinary, and everyday difficulty suddenly transforms into a teacher. A loss becomes a powerful reminder of value. A delay, that just becomes a redirection. Life is no longer defined by what happens to you, it's defined by how you read what happens.
Let's move to Section 4, the art of pausing, and see how this builds.
The call to action here is to look, sure, but to refuse to remain on the surface. We're going to go through a rapid, active process of looking deeper into the everyday things around us. Let's really wake the mind up here. Look at the sky. Don't just glance up and say, "Oh, how beautiful." Push further. Ask yourself, what does this incredible, mind-boggling order actually point to? What's behind all this vastness?
Look at a tree. Don't just pass by and think, "Yep, it's green." Push deeper. Ask, how does this life actually emerge from dirt and water? How does it grow?
Look at a child's smile. Don't just stop at, "Oh, how sweet." Let it hit you. Ask yourself, what does this pure innocence and clarity remind me of deep down in my own core?
Now, look at yourself. Do not just accept the basic fact that you are merely living day to day. Ask the ultimate question. What is the true meaning of this specific, unique life that has been given to me?
And now, you just pause. Just pause. Seeing truly requires stillness. A person who is just in constant motion cannot perceive anything clearly. When you're rushing, you don't notice. When you're just endlessly consuming, you can't understand. But when you pause and you let yourself become inwardly quiet, something beautiful begins to open up. The answers start to reveal themselves, gently.
In this quiet pause, a totally remarkable transformation takes place. Because you're no longer rushing to judgment, your complaints naturally decrease. Your awareness of the world around you just skyrockets. Those harsh, knee-jerk reactions you used to have, they soften, and you, as a person, deepen. Seeing rightly definitely requires effort, for sure. But this incredible effort to just pause and reflect is quite literally one of the greatest gifts you could ever give yourself.
All right, which leads us to our final section, waking up to reality.
This is the moment where that bad habit of not hearing the earth and the sky is finally broken. This is where we transition from merely observing the scenery of our lives to actually receiving the message life has been broadcasting all along. Let's break down how people of insight actually operate. They aren't just folks who memorized more trivia facts. They are people who reflect, who connect the dots, and who move from simple observation straight to profound truth. When they look at a tiny seed, they aren't just seeing a speck of matter. No way. They're witnessing a life emerging from stillness. When they watch the sunset, they don't just see it getting dark. They're taking in a powerful reminder of transience and finitude.
Notice how this perfectly maps the journey from a mere appearance right down to the deep message. Night is no longer just the absence of light. It becomes rest, a covering, a gentle reminder. Day isn't just the sun coming up, it's fresh opportunity, it's movement, it's trust in action. Rain isn't just water falling from clouds, it's literally mercy, renewal, and quiet provision. And the absolute ultimate realization of all this, the universe itself is not just some massive empty backdrop. It is a direct address meant specifically and intentionally for you.
We're going to wrap up our explainer today with this powerful, lingering thought. I saw the night as darkness, the day as something plain. Then I saw they were signs, and I had only glanced in vain. Look, awakening unfolds gradually. But once you finally realize that the truth was never actually hidden from you, that we simply chose to remain on the surface, I promise you will never look at your life the same way again. So tell me, what signs are you going to choose to see today?